Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's your Impact Attack. It's not our Impact Attack. We are just the caretakers, if you will. We swaddle up the Impact Attack, you know, feed it, burp it, uh, and then we deliver back to you as promised, all intact. Oh, looks like the impact attack has messed itself, but that's okay. We're here to we're professionals. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do it together. And who's we? It's the VBC, right? I'm the V in the VBC, the vet Jamie Williams. My tag team partner Brandon is getting the hot tag right now, something you rarely will see in TNA wrestling. What's up, Brandon?
Not much, man. Uh, I'll say this much for the punching up. You might not agree with how I did it, but I think you will agree with how I ended this week's Impact would draw more viewers to watch next week than how they ended it this week.
Correct. Which could be a case of if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around, will another tree fall in the forest next week? I guess we'll see. And then some of the people that'll be in that forest are here with us tonight. I know there's going to be more. I'm sure you have some people in the Raw watch along that are probably getting resituated. Maybe they got up to use the restroom, get a snack or whatever. They're going to file in shortly. So far, we've got a couple, I think. We'll see who's here.
So far, we got Elizabeth and Labrat in the house. There was definitely much more in the Raw watch along with us. I'm sure they'll be filtering in once they get done with their breaks in between both shows. Giggity, giggity.
All right. Well, we got Canada Spaceman just popped in from space. Did anything happen on Raw that was noteworthy tonight so far? You be the first person to review Monday Night Raw. It's not even over yet. You can be reviewing it on a live show. What can you say?
I mean, to be fair, nothing really noteworthy happened.
Oh God.
But they kind of laid the foundation for things to happen later in the show. Whether they actually follow up on that the correct way to further business and get people over. Well, it's 8:30. We got an hour and a half to go. That remains to be seen. We're halfway through it.
Well, I believe in talking about the Wyatt 6 angle, I believe Vince Russo said something like they should start off Monday Night Raw with everything to do with that, and they're not going to do it. So he was right, is what it sounds like.
I will say they did something, although in my opinion, it was nowhere near enough to kind of sell the angle, where they started having okay, we now have extra security around everywhere, where it's like
they did that on SmackDown.
That, the absolute bare minimum. Come on, guys, you can do more than this. You have agents back there who are former wrestlers, where it's okay, regular security is not enough for this. We need to step in and kind of take your jobs.
Mm-hmm. You do lots of different things, none of which they do. So that sucks. It's too bad. Oh well. Hey. They've only had, maybe 20 or 30 chances to get this whole Bray Wyatt thing right. And, maybe it's only going to take 50 or 60 more times before they finally do whatever it is they want to do. But
we got some breaking news from Liz. Nikki just came out at the end of a match and left something on the announce desk.
She should have been arrested immediately.
Yeah, for real. Where's the cops?
Where's the extra security? Even?
People got murdered. Call the cops. Where's the cops?
Yeah.
Channeling my inner Spoonie Bard there.
Yeah. Labrat says Raw needs NXT parking lot security. Well, by that, he's saying they need no security at all, because everybody knows that the only place more dangerous than in the presence of the YS6 is the NXT parking lot. Even the Wyatts are scared of that. They're scared of that place. So
Oh, they're laid out over the desk. Well, shit, that goes back that kind of goes back to my theory. Why not bring in the wrestlers you have backstage working as agents to act as security, being like, okay, this is kind of a bit more of a stronger threat than we, anticipated. We need okay, people who actually competed to be our security instead of our normal security guards.
yeah, well, it just sounds like, as in the words of Javi Uchiha, who has now joined us, it sounds like this is some haunted house bullshit. Because not in the way of like maybe a movie that features a haunted house, but it's like a real haunted house, like where you go there and there's people that are standing there that are supposed to jump out and scare you, but they're not supposed to touch you, and you just like laugh at them and go by, or you're like your girlfriend clings to your arm or whatever, like that it seems like it's that kind of a haunted house right now on Raw, than like, kind of what they're going for, it seems. So
Man, I know you're not a big fan of a lot of the theatrical production stuff, but I think the way Ben kind of laid it out, on the Monday and Friday locker rooms, as well as on the review show and the Master Theater, I think that his way of incorporating it was probably the best way to go with it. These are characters from an alternate universe. They're pulling you into theirs, where they can do whatever they want to you in that universe, but when you go back to yours, you're fine.
Well, as I've said many times, I do think that Vin is a genius for many reasons, and none of them are his creative ideas. I've said that to his face on the air, so don't anybody think that I'm trying to talk behind his back or anything like that. But
I've seen the locker rooms where you've said that right to his face.
He can have his ideas, and that's great. But they're not going to do that anyway. They're going to go to Whataburger and pose for a photo. So, which is another bin favorite.
I think that's something everybody that actually cares about kayfabe can agree on. Like, bro, you're really going to kill this work by doing that shit?
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to have a sandwich, you can just leave the clothes on. Just go there, wear your top hat, and eat your burger. Like, the new Uncle Howdy mask has the mouth cut out, so you can eat a burger and fries like with the mask on.
I think it would get the characters over more if they went into Whataburger in character, in costume, and actually sat down and ate and had their picture taken while in character. Like, what the, like, and you have the customers there going, what the fuck is going on here?
Right. I mean, you would think, but hey, who wants to have fun? Who wants to have fun anymore?
Dude, how much fun would that be to walk? Like, if you're part of that group, you walk into a Whataburger in character and you get to have fun, like for real, in the moment with real customers there. I don't know. To me, the performer in me is like, I'm like rubbing my hands at that, like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hey, who knows? At least they didn't go to Dairy Queen, which, if you want to understand that joke, you'll just have to visit twitch.tv/opinionhaver and hang out with us. And you may get an entire saga of Gam Wolfers going to Dairy Queen to find that the deal he thought he was going to get was not the deal that he thought he was going to get. But,
bro, $7 for a single burger, fries, a drink, and a sundae for $7? Nah, dude. Nah, that's like pissing in your face and calling it rain, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to segue out of that, but we do have some some things to talk about since last Impact Attack that we spoke. Certain people have made an appearance. Some people over on Tuesday nights have said a certain name, and a certain name has appeared, and people, yeah, people may believe in him or not. Um, so Joe Hendry making an appearance in NXT for a battle royal, and definitely that ties into this week's episode. Not necessarily directly with Joe Hendry, even though he was on the show, but funny enough, we'll get to that in a second. But apparently, this viral clip of Joe Hendry crossing the line, uh, to put a TNA pun in there, uh, is a huge sensation, and people have been, sharing this, and it's been viewed by how many people at this point?
I personally can't say the exact amount, but what I can say is it is the most viewed social media WWE clip since WrestleMania. So that kind of says a lot in my opinion.
Mm, all right. Yeah, it was something like, I mean, it was obviously several million. I don't know what number. I haven't been paying too close attention. I saw 5 million at some point, 8 million, something like that. I'm sure it's not like these clips go away. They can continue to grow in views, especially if people hear that, there's a lot of views, then immediately they go to look at it if they haven't seen it, or something like that. So,
Yep, and to add what to what Lisbeth said, I didn't see Masha involved, but I definitely saw the Jordan and Ivy Nile workout clips.
mhm. Well, it's been a long time that certain people have been working out, off site on their own time, trying to improve. I've seen many clips of, and I don't know who exactly is organizing it. Maybe it's Natty Neidhart is one of the people. But she always has these ring workouts, and
Natty
Moose is
Neidhart's got
there.
that forbidden door, pal.
Yeah. Um, she's got, so like I said, Moose is there. I've seen Apollo Crews there. So like people have been training on their own regardless
Dude,
of
she put
companies.
there's a highly publicized picture of her working of Natty herself doing training with Joe Hendry in the dungeon.
Yeah, he's one of those people that they've had people, but they've been doing this for years. It's not, even long before anything was allowed to happen or to be made official. It's people that are working on their own time, to improve their craft, is how some of these relationships are being, formed, and how some of these people are able to rapidly improve, while others apparently, just really don't. I mean, having covered NXT for however long and having watched it for 10 years, it's definitely visible to me that certain people progress at wildly different rates than others, and I just assume that's all due to the amount that they're willing to put in on their own time.
Dude, I will never forget how we actually saw Roxanne Perez on TNA, and it was actually her who dropped the ROH women's title to Deanna Purrazzo to make her the champ, and that's what she started the champ challenge off of.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
I
right.
actually remember you talking about how the talent and just what Roxanne Perez at the time called Roxy brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it now, 100%, you made the right call on that.
Yeah, the Prodigy's a shoot. She was already good enough back then, and that's really what I needed to see that she had it. And if anything, being in NXT and having to sort of go down to work with certain people, not everybody, but certain people who are at kind of a remedial level. She's already in the advanced college prep, um is just it's hindered her development. If anything, it may have raised other people's development. It's one of those things that you hear veterans say, right? Is you have to work with people better than you to improve, right? So,
But I think, yeah, in Roxanne Perez's situation, she's an exception. She really is a prodigy.
mhm. Well, the problem is what if you're the one who's better? How are you supposed to improve? If you have to work with people that are just behind where you are, it's a
I
different way to improve, but it's still
I
difficult.
I can say this as somebody who was put in that position multiple times. You just got to work harder to bring that person up to your level. That's just what it's about.
Hmm.
Force them to come to your level.
Yeah, and and then when you are in that position, you're learning different skills. You're not going to learn all the skills you need to learn, but you're learning different skills. So it's one of those situations where I just think that in Roxanne's time in NXT, there are certain things, certain aspects that have hindered her uh, development in some ways, while they have maybe improved them in other ways. So she's building a more well-rounded. She's getting experience, is what she's getting. That's mostly what she's getting. She's probably not really learning new things per se, as far as like being a wrestler or wrestling, but she's probably just getting more of those miles under her belt and understanding different things and situations and stuff. So, um, but yeah, that's that's one thing. So, but to go back to Joe Hendry, so now people are starting to be aware of Mr. Hendry, even though he's another one of those people like Roxanne Perez that years ago I would have been telling people, hey, watch out for this guy because he's been doing this same bit for a long time, for at least the 5 years ago that I saw him doing it, and even longer than that. So now he's just now the world is again catching up to what I've seen 5 years ago. It's a common theme.
I'll put it this way with Joe Hendry. You put hit like if he did like a rock concert like The Rock did back in 2003, and you put those two side by side, I'd put Joe Hendry up there with The Rock. I'd put him up there with him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that might sound marky, but I think Joe Hendry has that level of charisma. I really think he does.
Well, he also doesn't have Brian Gewirtz in his pocket to do everything for him, so he's already ahead of him in that category. But yeah. Um. So, is there any other news or developments or anything in the world of wrestling that need to be talked about? Uh, I haven't really seen anything earth shattering lately.
Nah, it seems like the really, really big shit with like, Vince McMahon, Janelle Grant, the federal government, that's kind of simmering on the back burner. Might kind of heat up later in the next few months, but right now it's just kind of sitting for now.
Mm. There were some comments made by Chael Sonnen apparently on some appearance where he was just talking like as if it was an open secret that everybody, oh yeah, I thought everybody knew that Vince McMahon has slept with all these people and did all these things. I thought that was just common knowledge, and talking about he's I believe he said something like 11, he's like 11 different people that I know and 8 of them female. So you figure out how that
Wow.
goes.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Pat Patterson's one of the three.
Probably. Uh, but then again, maybe not. Doesn't seem
I
like
mean,
Vince's type, but
if
I could
Vince
see
if Vince
them,
McMahon has ever been in bed with any male, if any three males, one of them has to be Pat Patterson, no doubt.
interesting, interesting. Yeah. But I think he was more so referencing like people that were, granted a push in exchange for, certain favors or something like that.
There's one name I've heard about that on one time on Raw made a gesture like this that, well, you won't. It'll be hard to figure out who it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that yes, that's definitely been an allegation. If anybody wasn't watching the video to see Brandon make that gesture, but yeah, not only has that been an allegation for years that Shawn Michaels, but also that's a name that got brought up in this Chael Sonnen interview as well. So
I'm not going to name names, but people have told me that something did happen between people with the initials HBK and VKM. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm. 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 And then also something about a story that Scott Hall told about Vince telling him and Kevin about his first homosexual experience. Like these are stories that have been out there for a while. Uh, hey, you know. So, but that's just some guy talking on a podcast. No, it's not
Yeah,
gonna.
so can we safely assume that there's a chance that something happened between Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon? Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly.
Allegedly. All right. Well, allegedly, we've got to talk about this damn episode of TNA Impact, and allegedly, this happened on June 20th. Allegedly, I don't think there's any way to prove it, but we'll do our best to just cover the events as we saw them. Starting with the usual ketchup packet, we gotta let everybody know.
Heinz, baby, we got the good stuff.
The real stuff right there. There's no substitutes. No substitute. No
substitute for you.
So we got that, and then we're gonna start. Okay, we'll start this the right way with the system. Okay, I'm liking it. I don't have to wait for Moose this time. The Moose sighting is out.
Now I have that whole no substitute song that Chef sang on that first season episode of South Park in my head. There's no substitute for you. No substitute. No substitute.
Did you have the Chef Aid South Park album?
Surprisingly, I did not. I just watched the episodes and remember the songs.
Wow. Well, go out of your way. I think it was Conrad Thompson would say, go out of your way to go listen to it.
Who was that? Natasha Henstridge from Species.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about her?
And the funny part was, like, I watched it on the DVD, and they had this commentary before the episode where, like, they jokingly talked about how they play this game with each other called where, like, hey, one of us would close their eyes and pretend the other guy is Natasha Henstridge, and then the other guy would close their eyes and pretend the other guy is Natasha Henstridge, but it was a joke. It was clearly a joke.
Oh, I thought we were talking about another Vince McMahon allegation here, but this was Matt and Trey, you saying? Okay.
Bruh, dude, how much shit has happened with Matt and Trey that we don't know about?
That much stuff.
Me being me, I want to believe that those guys are straight up stand-up guys. But who the fuck knows? It's Hollywood.
Right. All right. Well, let's get back on track here, because the system they look good enough to look good enough to be in Hollywood. Well, some of them. Well, one of them. But this time they've got the not quite. She's one of the people that gets off the bus and gets off hoping to be a Hollywood star and ends up in a different part of LA doing different kind of movies. Is probably what it is. Yeah, so this time this says the system, the graphic on the screen, the lower third, it says the system with JDC. That's what it says on there. So what does that mean? Obviously they're talking about Dango, because Dango's out there with them this time, and he's got a little suit on this time. It doesn't quite match the rest of the system. They're kind of in black. He's in like a baby blue kind of looking suit.
And to be fair, we get clarification on all that in this promo. So credit to him for at least that.
I'm getting to it. Apparently it is the JDC is Johnny Dango Curtis, is what that stands for. So he's back to his old Johnny Curtis. I don't think he's gonna get that over. But he is Johnny Dango Curtis. He's combining his old WWE working name with his shortened WWE working name to combine two WWE working names. I guess it's okay now since they're all friends. Um, but yeah, I remember this. I remember when this guy was
That's Dana Brooke. I mean, that's Ashley Elegant from TNA.
right. I remember when this guy was just Johnny Curtis with the weird little bones on his tights, and his catchphrase was "Let's get weird." I'm wrestling matches on friggin' I don't know Velocity or whatever that equivalent show was back then. But now he's Johnny Dango Curtis, and he's in here with a mic for a long time, putting over how long he's known all these people in the system and where he knows them from. And then he gets to Moose, who doesn't know him, and he's like, "Hey, big man, I know you don't know me, but you could trust me or whatever." And Moose takes the mic and is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and then basically tells him, "You're not part of the system yet." And then Santino comes out. He makes some kind of match series, which is going to lead to a 6-man elimination match at Slammiversary for the TNA championship. And then and he says, "Oh, also by the way, it's Dango versus the Small Ziggler, and it's Josh versus EY in the main event. Good night, everybody." And then that's the opening. So, what did you think about all that?
Man, here's kind of where, like, looking at that, here's kind of where I want to see this whole Dango system situation go. I want to see him take the digital media title from AJ Francis, and that turns first class babyface.
Ugh. I don't know if I want that.
Well, I mean, there's still clearly material and plenty of stuff to get out of them as heels, but like once we've gotten that, okay, let's turn them babyface. Here's how we do that.
I don't know. Is that too long to wait? Because if we're gonna have Curtis as part of the system, and he needs a belt so he can fit in, so maybe we want to get that done quicker than maybe there's a triple threat.
Right. And the only other option to go with that is the X Division title. But it's already on a heel you're trying to build in Ali, so that kind of
he ain't doing no jobs, so he's never gonna lose it. He'll retire the X Division champion, even though he just said it's a piece of shit prop and he doesn't want it. All right, well, we got places to go from here, and of all the places that we could go from here, where we go is the ABC. They show the little clip of them, winning their match at Against All Odds, and then they're doing a promo. Guess what's back? The lights are back. The lights are here. There are lights everywhere. Back. We need to
back again.
We need to start a hashtag.
Lights campaign. Are back. Tell a friend. Guess right, who's back?
This is why we tell a friend, Brandon. We're gonna tell them all with the hashtag, social media hashtag turn off the lights. We may just have to bring it back. Unless this is a one-off week, we may have to bring it back. But you know what they want back? They want their tag titles back. So that's where they're focused right now. And we'll see where they go from here. Spoiler alert, nowhere. We do get a digital exclusive, though, on Frankie Kazarian. Allegedly, this is him leaving the Performance Center in Orlando. He's blaming Joe Hendry for him not winning the Battle Royal and for stealing his spotlight. So if you guys saw the Battle Royal that we were talking about earlier and Joe Hendry, what we didn't mention was that randomly a Frankie Kazarian was just already in the ring waiting as the show came on the air. Yeah, also, and Frankie Kazarian. But anyway, nobody cares about that. And then Hendry's immediately eliminated from the Battle Royal because all the other people in the Battle Royal eliminate him after he gets on the mic and basically says he's going to win. Then they all are like, "No, you're not," and they throw him out. And then Frankie Kazarian's in there for a while longer, but he got no fanfare or barely recognition on there. So,
yeah, Dude, that's one thing that could have been done so much better. Why not have some of your top NXT talent that's in that battle royal get their entrances, cut their promo, and then in the middle of that, Frankie Kazarian comes out, cuts a promo. Oh shit, we got guys from TNA. Then you have some more NXT guys come out, cut promos on the way to the ring, and then the last entrant is Joe Hendry, and it's like, to me, that felt more like if they would have done it that way, they would have built them up a lot better.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the live crowd got something. I don't know, but we just didn't see that on TV. So, that's an L, but it's fine. I guess, they didn't want to, they're setting that can set up this angle. Perhaps that's why they wanted to do it this way, so that it can set up an angle. It can give Frankie Kazarian something to say, something to do, somewhere for them to go and work, in a program, and that's how they would start it. So that's one way to do it. It's not the only way to do it, but it's one way to do it.
Did you catch that one video with Joe Hendry and Shawn Michaels?
I didn't actually watch it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, he basically, like, after he got eliminated, he came through the curtain and Shawn Michaels and Gorilla, and he approached him and going like, basically like, what the fuck is this you're doing? Everybody jumping me, throwing me out as soon as the match starts. Like what the fuck, man? And then Shawn's like apologetic, and then Joe is like, I can appear on any show at any time. All you have to do is say his name, and then walks off.
Yeah. Good piece of business. Good little piece of business, as Dutch Mantel might say. All right. So, well, whatever it is, we'll have to. One thing I think that we can kind of agree on is that even if this stuff sucks, it seems like they're trying to connect it and somewhat make it make sense. So, all right. This, on the other hand, not really. Spitfire versus the Hex in a tag team match, playa. I got nothing to say about this. I got nothing to say about this match, except for one thing, but that's it. What do you got to say about this match?
This was just here for Hex to put Spitfire over. That was it.
And are they done now? Can we stop? Can we stop seeing the Hex? Is this a good enough exit strategy for them?
Well, to be fair, with TNA's women's tag team division, I hope not. We need tag teams.
I guess you're right. Well, not this tag team, but yeah. So Spitfire hits that ridiculous finisher they do to poor Marty Bell, and she has to take it. So, all right. Well, let's. Speaking of here now, we have Matt Hardy doing a promo. Allegedly, this was probably like right after Against All Odds in the match they had, right? So
allegedly.
Yeah. So now Matt Hardy wants to act serious. Now, after his wife, who gets involved, gets put through a table or whatever, but she doesn't even look hurt. She's just sitting there, looks like she's mildly annoyed or something, like she just read something on social media that pissed her off, like it always does. And she doesn't look hurt at all. And this guy is now dropped his character and is just going full like scorched earth now that he's mad that his wife, who got involved, got hurt. Okay. And I care because
a wife who willingly involved herself in something that had absolutely nothing to do with her. She was sticking up for her husband. Well, if you willingly insert yourself into the crosshairs, you got to expect to get shot at some point. Sorry.
Yep. Well, she didn't say anything. She just sat there looking annoyed. But hey, that's it. That broken Matt. I guess if you break a broken Matt, he goes back to regular Matt then.
Oh, trust us, Gam. I will fix this on the punch up.
Yep. All right. Well, there is no fixing this, Even when you break something, once it's glued back together, you can see all the cracks.
Broken. Yes.
Speaking of broken and cracks, Alan Angels finds Kushida sitting by an artificially pink brick wall for the sound check.
As weird as it is with how bad the production is with like Alan Angels' sound check segments, like to me it works because I feel like that's what he's going for. Like the shittier it is, okay, cool. That just adds to what I'm trying to get across.
Yes, I think I would be perfectly fine with the lights if they were only in his production segments, like as a rib, like as a rib on me and you personally. Like we just like the hey, let's do that thing that they don't like over on the Impact Attack, but let's do it in Alan Angel's thing for Heat. Like maybe if that was the thing, but it's not. It's in everything, so it's not that they're just doing it. And speaking of a rib on us, they do this thing where they show like a montage video package of Kushida like um looking for the cure or trying to find the cure for the Jonathan Gresham illness liquid, and he's got like a scientist with him, and they've got an octopus. They've got a live octopus,
Yeah.
and they're comparing ink samples and trying to derive a cure based on that.
Here, like this whole thing kind of exemplifies the biggest issue, I think, in my opinion, with these whole Alan Angels sound check segments, where it's like they want to go up to the point of like, this is Spinal Tap, but they don't want to cross that line and go fully into it. It's like, no, you need to cross that line. This is what this needs to be, and have it be its own thing where it's kind of like self-contained, where Alan Angels, his crew, like they treat it like it's, this is Spinal Tap, where everybody else is involved is like, what the fuck, dude?
Cross the line. Because TNA. Yeah. Well, they could do that, but apparently they're not doing it. Or maybe they think they're doing it. Whatever. But Alan Angels basically mouths off. He says that he thinks that this is just Kushida trying to monetize something. This is probably somebody's political commentary or something like that. And then Kushida challenged him to a match next week because that's obviously what you would do.
And the best part was like when Alan Angels took off his shades, like, damn it, I was hoping he wouldn't say that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where like he knew it was coming, hoping it wouldn't come, but kind of like was calling the bluff, but like, fuck.
Right. And also having a meta commentary on your own segment within the wrestling show.
In the weirdest ass way, this whole Alan Angels sound check thing is surprisingly self-aware. Like it works. I don't get it, but it works.
I think pretty much the one thing that's wrong with it is that it's Alan Angels, and he'll just never get over it. So, but this will be the best chance that he has of getting over. So, so let's talk to some that kind of get over. Next is a Chicago street fight. It is Frankie Kazarian versus Ace Steel of all people. Okay, so here's what I had to notice about this match. Number one, Ace looked really good in there. Like, and I'm talking about he didn't look like a crippled old man moving around because he needed to do a street fight because he can't work anymore. It looked like they did a street fight and then he ended up being like more athletic than a lot of people in TNA. And so it kind of rendered this match unnecessary because he could still fucking go apparently. And this actually did look like a good street fight. Okay, go ahead.
This felt like if you're going to do an actual Chicago street fight between these two, you should have actually had it happen in the streets of Chicago, to where it's like you're telling the story, you're getting over what you need to get over without having Ace Steel's abilities overshadow the rest of the roster.
Well, they didn't do that. So the other thing is, this basically, it kind of was like, as opposed to, now obviously this is TNA and we see a lot of these type of garbage matches. Okay, way too many and way too terrible. This is what the match would be supposed to look like, because these guys look like they were fighting. They didn't look like they were taking time to set up spots using various pieces of furniture. and just pulling out different gimmicks to get a pop. Like, oh, look, I have a bag of tacks now. Oh, look, I have a staple gun. Oh, look, I have all these things that don't make sense, but I have them.
Yeah, these guys want to fucking kill each other for real. That's the vibe I got from this.
Until until uh they pulled out a kendo stick. And so now unfortunately I must disavow this match entirely. Despite they had me, they finally had me. Somebody had me in a street fight, and then they pulled out a kendo stick and they lost me. So now this match never existed. I don't acknowledge it other than what I've already said. So Brandon, can you tell the people what happened at the end of this match and the post match
Uh,
gimmick Snavitz?
uh, dude, it ended with Frankie Kazarian hitting Fade to Black on 2 steel chairs. He gets the pin, and
then
it was just shit from there. It
and
was
shit.
just shit. Like,
Shit.
again,
Well,
you have the open door. Where the fuck is CM Punk standing up for his friend?
oh, CM Punk was viciously destroyed on Friday Night SmackDown. He's in no condition to go anywhere or do anything.
Okay, this is the day before. Why is he? Okay,
Well, he had to travel then. Excuse me.
if you're going, this is one of those things where if you're gonna do this whole like, okay, we're working together, we're gonna do these cross proportional shit. This is where you need to get on the same page and have guys who are like have real friendships and relationships. Hey, we can tell stories across both brands that make sense and get both brands over. A rising tide lifts all ships. This is a situation where that kicks in. Why the fuck did you not do that?
He didn't want to. I mean, Ace had it. It was basically Ace had it. I don't think anybody should have to worry about Ace in a one-on-one situation with Kazarian. But anyway, you know, to prevent the further chicken winging of Ace Steel, at least the man that showed up was Joe Hendry. You know, and they set that up by Kazarian and his digital exclusive, which apparently again wasn't exclusive, where he's talking about how Joe Hendry ruined everything. So now Joe Hendry comes out, he makes the save, hits a standing ovation on Kazarian, and we're off to the races, as some might say.
If you did this right, you could build Moose as this unstoppable heel champion, Joe Hendry as this babyface with everybody behind him. Put that title match on an NXT pay-per-view and have Joe Hendry go over. Like, bro, how are you not seeing this? It helps everybody. Everybody.
Well, we're not there yet. We're still on Frankie Kazarian versus Joe Hendry. And I guess that's what's coming up next. Not next on this show. On this show, it is another hidden camera in a locker, and they're going to catch Ali and Campaign Singh, and they're in the lights, by the way, red and blue. I guess they didn't have a white light, because they didn't want to do that one, so they just had a red light and a blue light. And Ali wants Singh to find the leak. Who's leaking these videos? And he even mentioned the corrupted audio file or whatever that was on the pay-per-view that was just TNA's fault, but at least he acknowledged it and made it sound like, it was part of the show, that was meant to be part of the show.
Yeah. And when I went back and read the Jason Powell review of this show for my Punching Up Impact, so I had the results ready for me, he even put out the point like, what did this accomplish for anybody? Why didn't they show the video? Why didn't they advance the storyline? I just felt like it was stalling.
Well, he's going to address the people next week, is what they're going to do. That's how they're advancing the storyline.
Okay, you can share the video and then have Ali say like, hey, I'm going to explain what happened in this video next week. Now you have a hook.
I think that is what they did.
Yeah, but they didn't show the video though.
Well, they don't want to show the video because the video was fucked. It was the audio was probably completely trashed on the video. And if they showed the video again with corrected audio, then they're going to say, why didn't you have that on the pay-per-view then rather than the shitty audio that you had because you did it live? That's why they didn't do it.
You show the original video earlier in the show. You have Ali and Singh pissed off about the video, saying this is bullshit. This was doctored. This was made to make me look bad. I'm going to clear the air next week on Impact and break down this video and show them where they lied point by point next week. That's where you go. That's your promotion.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out on Punching Up Impact if that is the case. But as for this show, okay, POV, you are a jabroni, and you're watching PCO rampage down a hall full of applauding jabronis. That's my TikTok crowd version of the thing we see on the show.
These people are applauding you. They're cheering for you. Why are you attacking them instead of going, yeah, through them while they pat you and slap you on the back? What the fuck?
He's a monster. He has to have the village run away from him.
Or if you're having a wedding or a date, why is the village not embracing you and supporting you? Like, hey, this is something that'll take his attention away from us. Yeah, we're for that.
Well, he's a savage, unpredictable beast, and he can't be. So, we get to the in-ring dinner date, which I'm not gonna dignify this by recapping what happens in this. If you want to see this bullshit, you can go fucking see it yourself. I'm not talking about it. And Brandon, if you want to talk about it, you could talk about it. I'm just letting you know I'm washing my hands of this whole thing. I'll just say that First Class couldn't come out soon enough to interrupt this, and First Class is awful. So that should let you know how badly this was going before they showed up.
I will definitely agree with you on First Class. Thank God for them showing up to interrupt this.
Yeah. And it ends with zip ties and table bumps, but maybe not on the people that you would expect. So is there anything else that you have to add to this fiasco?
First of all, this entire thing with Steph DeLander and PCO should have been a show-long story arc that happens outside of the arena.
Yeah, where's the guy that likes to make independent films doing shit about Eric Young riding a bike out of his murder and like all this, and the Jonathan Gresham therapy sessions? Like, where's that guy to make the dinner date movie, to make the romantic comedy movie, the horror romantic, the Addams Family Part 3? Like, where's that guy now? Why are we getting this in the fucking ring in front of the live audience? Where's our independent student film project for this?
Yeah, here's how this whole Steph DeLander PCO date should have happened. Either PCO or Steph DeLander shows up at the other's hotel room. That's one segment.
That's a McMahon segment.
Another segment is the two of them, interacting with each other as they walk, right down the elevator, go through the hotel lobby, and they get in their vehicle. Segment 3 is them interacting in their vehicle. Segment 4, they arrive at the venue, they interact, and they go into the venue. Segment 5, they interact with each other during the thing, and Steph DeLander starts realizing PCO's got some charm to him. I'm starting to like this guy. And in the finale, segment 6, somebody starts some shit with Steph DeLander, and then PCO steps up and beats the shit out of him, and then him and Steph DeLander leave the venue. That's the end of it. We tune in next week to see where that goes from there.
Or we'd never tune in again. your choice. But the point is, you did your best to try to keep people throughout the show engaged in the thing. Right. They didn't do any of that.
Uncle Fester and Debbie, that's a great comparison right there.
Yeah. Well, all right. Are we ready to move on? Or
I think we are. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's keep this train rolling.
Okay, Choo Choo, Heather Reckless versus Ash by Elegance. All the usual stuff, except that she tries to get a little bit too handsy with Heather Reckless after the match is already over, and that means Jordan Grace has to run in, and then she's about to kill Ash by Elegance, but then the concierge like weakly punches her in the back, and then she turns around to him, and then they both eventually just get over on her. So they double team Jordan and leave her. So let me count how many times this is. 1, 2. Let's see. Actually, wait a minute. There's only been 3 matches, but that's the second time that somebody's come out after the fact to do a run-in.
Here's my theory of where they're going with the Knockouts title. I think Jordan Grace is going to kind of keep building as herself as the dominant champion for a little bit until it's time for her to drop the title to Ash by Elegance. She's going to get a heel title reign, and then she's going to drop it to Giselle Shaw.
Gotcha. So we want Ash as a transitional champion.
Not really that much of a transitional champion. I think she'll have a few months to get herself and her character over while Giselle builds her character and her story, and then those two finally collide.
Okay. Well, anyway, Jordan Grace says afterwards that she's going to handle Ash once and for all. So we'll see if that's true. Next is JDC versus Ryan Ziegler. They have a match. I'll be honest, I was nodding off. So down and dirty leg drop, and then afterwards he's gonna put a beating on him, and Big Ziggler is gonna come in and save his little brother from a beating. So now we
get me the big Dolph Ziggler, pal, not the little one.
Yeah. Big Ziggler. Did they just show Vince McMahon the end scene of Boogie Nights when they're trying to come up with a thing for Nick Nemeth? It's like, hey, look at this big fat cock, Vince. It's my life. It's my big dick. I'll do what I want.
Oh, big bratwurst.
Where's Brockus?
Or Alex Wright.
Or Alex Wright. He doesn't know who Alex Wright is.
Dude, I always thought Alex Wright was one of the biggest drop balls in wrestling history.
Drop balls. All right. It looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. We got a package for the main event about Eric Young and Josh Alexander, 2 Canadian boys, yeah, they're having a qualifying match to be in that bullshit 6-man elimination match for Moose's championship at, what was it, Slammiversary? Yeah.
Yeah, pal.
All right, if I was nodding off before, once this match came on, I lost full consciousness. So I had to wake up, rewind it to the finish, which was a C4. And then, of course, Eric Young is fine, and they hug it out, and they're friends and everything. He's like, hey, man, sorry I had to, slam you so hard on your head that your spine went shooting out your asshole, but are we good? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. I can stand on my own power. Yeah, you're selling more than I am, and you won the match. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. I also do a pile driver myself, but yours is better. Okay. All right, love you, man. Love you too. Okay, bye.
Well, he hooks you for the pedigree, pal. I mean, it's better than a regular pile driver, yeah.
Yeah, you can't even try to protect yourself on mine.
Get me Owen Hart, yeah, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, no little weak roll up here. We're going with the pile driver as a finish.
Drop you on your fucking head, yeah, pal.
Yeah. So yeah, as I've just in case we have new people joining us or listening or anything that aren't familiar, the reason I have disavowed both of these guys like a kendo stick is because of just that dumb shit that they've done in the past, and I'm just tired of both of them. I'm mad at Josh Alexander for the matches that he had with Alexander Hammerstone, and I'm mad at Eric Young because he fucking did that match with Kazarian where he almost died on a table because they just had to do a table spot that was extremely dangerous, even though they're two old guys that should know how to work and know better. So now they're both like, they made the list basically. So I have no sympathy for anything they do. I'm not interested in anything they do. They're fucking boring anyway. So whatever. Two bald Canadian dudes who are with beards who are boring. So fuck them. Wait,
And I
Eric
just try
Young
to
doesn't
make
have a beard anymore, right? He
and
doesn't
I
have
just
a
try to
beard?
make
Well,
funny and jokes out of anything I can find, pal.
yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. But did you have any comments on our prestigious main event with its own package?
I went too long, pal, but when we get to punching up, we'll see how we condensed it quite a bit, but it was for the better of the show.
All right. Well, we might as well take it away and just go right to punching it up because I got nothing on this.
So yeah, pal, we ended with a hot finish of Ryan Nemeth going over. Yeah, pal.
Oh, screw that.
Oh, wait.
Huh? I'm going to have to step in. No, we're not going to have Ryan Nemeth go over on anything here.
I fucked that
It doesn't
up.
work
I'm
for
dumb.
me, brother.
Alrighty.
If anything, Ryan Nemeth loses even faster than he did, which is already pretty fast considering.
Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and punch this bitch up. Started off with our recap, ketchup packet. Of course, we make sure to use Heinz because Heinz is the superior brand over Hunt's.
Mm-hmm.
Medium
5.
Yeah, sorry, Medium 5. It's just better, man. Hopefully, where you're at now, you finally learned that. We love you. We miss you. We wish you were with us.
Just not with a bottle of Hunt's ketchup.
Just not with no Hunts. Just not with no Hunts. Alrighty. So we go to our announce table. They run down the card for tonight. They talk about recent events and give their thoughts. You go to an in-ring with the System, Johnny, Dango, Curtis, and Santino that goes 15 minutes. The System music and entrance, same promo as on the show. Santino music and entrance, same promo as on the show. And then Matt Hardy's laughter is heard in the venue. We get a video on the screen of Broken Matt, Brother Nero, Senior Benjamin, and the kids surrounding Rebby in her bed. Matt and Brother Nero cut a promo on Moose and say they're going to get the System by the end of the night. And we go to our first commercial break. Basically, they're blaming Moose for what happened to Rebby at Against All Odds and her getting speared through a table.
I see. Just as a clarification point, did Rebby not end the night at Against All Odds on her feet, celebrating with the rest of them?
Yeah, she would have stayed down after the whole going through the table thing. I would have changed that up too, because we're trying to get over the fact of, okay, she's really hurt, and Matt and Jeff are extremely pissed about that.
Got it.
We go to our first commercial break. We come back with match number 1, the Hex versus Spitfire, 7 minutes. And this includes entrances for both teams. The Hex music and entrance, Spitfire music and entrance, condensed version of the match on the show. Then we go to the highlight package of the ABC going over Young and Alexander and Against All Odds, which is 30 seconds. Then we get a 1 minute and 30-second promo with ABC, same promo they cut on the show. Then you go to a package of Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian on NXT, which is a minute long. Same stuff we saw on the show. Then you go to a pre-tape of Frankie Kazarian leaving the NXT Performance Center. Same pre-tape we saw on the show with the promo that he cut. Then you go to a pre-tape, sound check, Alan Angels, Kushida, 4 minutes, same one we saw on the show. Then we go backstage with the System, 1 minute. Moose tells Brian, Eddie, and Alicia to have JDC back in his match, and he's going to go talk to Santino. We go to match number 2, Frankie Kazarian versus Ace Steel, Chicago Street Fight, 7 minutes. Frankie Kazarian music and entrance, Ace Steel music and entrance, condensed version of the match on the show that ends with Hendry out to make the save for Ace. They go to a pre-tape of Mustafa Ali and Campaign Singh. Same thing we saw on the show. Then we go backstage with PCO and the security guards. Same thing we saw on the show with him beating the shit out of the first two and the rest of them running scared. We go to our third commercial break. We come back. In-ring. PCO, Steph DeLander, date night. This goes 8 minutes. Steph DeLander music and entrance. PCO music and entrance. Condensed a version of what we got on the show, but with much, much different and certainly much, much better creative than the whole eating worms and drinking whatever that shit was that we saw.
Look like all Jonathan Gresham stuff. Why? I thought you were gonna make this a multiple vignette throughout the show thing. Now you're just condensing it into a shorter version of this. No. We're not doing that. We're gonna go back to what you said earlier.
Yeah, where's Gresham? Where's he not involved in this? Yeah. Why is Gresham not PCO's wingman?
Yeah, wasn't that Cariff just full of Jonathan Gresham's vomit or whatever? Like, isn't that what?
Dude, assumed it was. I don't know if you've ever personally met him. Big Bad Ben, the promoter of Renegade Championship Wrestling and later Gateway Championship Wrestling out of St. Louis, would always refer to it as a giraffe.
A giraffe. Great.
May he rest in peace. God bless you, Big Ben. Love you, brother.
All right. So I think we're gonna delete this segment, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna put in all those vignettes that you said earlier.
Yep, and then we go to a vignette of Rosemary. She talks about her desire for revenge on Ash by Elegance over what she did to Jessica, while also hinting that once she's taking care of that, her next target is Giselle Shaw. I'm sorry, I think a heel Rosemary and a babyface Giselle Shaw, I think that could be an entertaining program if the creative's there.
I was just thinking who could offer Rosemary like a flower and take her on a date. Alan Angels,
all right.
Probably.
And then you go to a vignette, a 3-minute vignette of Crazy Steve.
Oh, yeah.
The gist of the vignette is that his next target is Steve Macklin, and he's going to strike when it's least expected.
Steve on Steve crime.
Because he obviously hates the FBI for reasons we don't know. And we go to match number 3. Ash by Elegance versus Heather Reckless, 5 minutes. Heather is already in the ring. Ash by Elegance, music and entrance. Same matches on the show. And then we go backstage. Jordan Grace, he cuts the same promo we saw on the show. And then we go backstage to Santino's office with Santino and Moose, 3 minutes. Moose wants to fight both Hardys. Santino says he hasn't been able to get a hold of them. They haven't arrived to the building yet, and he doesn't know what's going on. Moose says he'll get his hands on the Hardys one way or another. We go to our fourth commercial break, 4 minutes. Then we come back to our match number 4, Johnny Dango Curtis versus Ryan Nemeth. That goes 6 minutes. JDC and entrance. Ryan Nemeth music and entrance. Same matches on the show. Brawl ends with Nemeth laid out instead of JDC, Myers, and Edwards. And then we cut to a 5-minute vignette with Giselle Shaw and Gail Kim. Gail Kim, congratulations to Giselle Shaw on progress so far. Shaw wants to know what Gail Kim has in store next. Gail has a match booked next week against a ghost of Giselle's past. And then we see a header of Giselle Shaw versus Tasha Steeles for next week. Match number 5, Josh Alexander versus Eric Young. This goes 8 minutes. Josh Alexander, music and entrance. Eric Young, music and entrance. Condensed version of match on the show. We go backstage to the System's locker room, and Moose says they are going to go to the ring and take the show hostage until the Hardy brothers show up. We go to our fourth and final commercial break. Then we come back with the New Japan hype video. We go to the announce table. They run down the card for next week's show. Then we go to an in-ring, the System, House Hardy. And this is where you're going to disagree with me. But I think this is kind of where I think this finish, this is more getting eyeballs and attention on the product as opposed to kind of sticking to, traditional wrestling. All right, so we have our in-ring, the System music and entrance. The System calls out House Hardy. House Hardy appears on a pre-tape. They say that since the portals are open to all universes, they called some friends from another universe for a favor. Lights out. Lights begin to come back, just enough to see smoke. We see a blue spotlight on the ring, and the Wyatt Six are standing above the System, who are laid out, and we go off the air.
Yeah, you're right. I disagree. We're just gonna scrap that.
But again, I will ask you this question. Compared to how they went off the air on Impact, compared to what I suggested, what's going to draw more attention to people tuning in next week?
Well, I'm sure that if a top act in the WWE just randomly showed up on an Impact, then yes, that would draw more viewers to it, even though they're not going to watch the show anymore, and they're going to definitely want to check out. Maybe they might check out next week's episode of Impact. I'm sure they will get a lot of viral social media clips off of that. But
bring back Swingers Palace, pal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Labrat's right. We can't off the System on TV.
Which is why I said laid out instead of, murdered like on Raw.
That's right. Well, I mean, Chad Gable seems to be okay, so maybe nobody was actually murdered.
Right. And if you need the Wyatt Six to get, in ring, get their character over, TNA is a great place to do that at.
Yeah, this is that kind of garbage that TNA likes. Go do it over there. And we'll just pay you. We'll pay you to go do your bullshit on TNA. Hey, look, it's not going to happen, so I don't have to worry about the logistics of it happening or not. But as long as we're just writing whatever the hell kind of show we want, we should just write in WWE stars to replace everybody that sucks on this show. Then let's do that.
Deishin, pal.
Yeah, let's get Jey Uso in here. So, elaborate. Good hands. We have your next opponent. It's Eric Rowan and friggin' Dexter Lumis.
Although, again, if I'm writing this, then okay, if this happens on Impact, then Moose and the rest of the System, they're on Raw wanting to beat the shit out of these guys for what happened on TNA.
Yep. But I mean, they're not on Raw. They're in another universe. So they'll just show up at the building and looking confused, and yeah, they won't be able to find that portal or that wormhole or whatever it is.
Oh shit, son! It's that forbidden portal, Miz.
Forbidden Portal. Well, in any case, that was either your real or your fantasy episode of Impact Wrestling for June 20th. So, definitely some things kind of going on. Maybe we're taking baby steps towards something that will become bigger in the future, or perhaps this is all it's ever going to be. Is just going to be like minor little ripples in the pond that don't really amount to much other than a few viral social media clips. So
All
I
you
would
can do,
just,
all you can do is put it out into the universe and hope for the best.
yeah. But you guys can put out the hashtag turn off the lights into the
Turn those
universe.
fucking lights off, man. What the
Yeah.
fuck, bro?
And we're not talking about, in the arena so that the Wyatts can debut. We're talking about those stupid little RGB spotlights that you stick backstage in front of all the little curtains in the background. So, anyway, that's the social media campaign. If you want to know where you can find us outside of the Impact Attack, then what's your social media campaign looking like, Mr. Brandon?
Whoop whoop. So I've been doing a lot of kind of overhauling with my social media personal accounts. So right now, as of now, you can catch me on Twitter, or as the kids call it these days, X, at LG Brandon Whoop. I am also on Twitch. Once I finally get my dude, bro, that's been a complete fucking mess. Anybody who has streamed can know. Like, you can have something completely set up when you like, okay, cool, I'm gonna come back tonight and stream, and then you actually come back home, and everything's completely changed and it turns into a complete minefield.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, that's what I've been dealing with. But where we're at right now, I'm on twitch.tv/LG Brandon Whoop Whoop. We finally rebranded. We got the new images. We're under construction. We got, new emotes, new all that shit that's going to be coming in the future. When, I don't know. I can't really say. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm also, we're there, and we're also on Substack at HMG Brandon. That's, of course, going to be changing as well to some variation of LG Brandon Whoop Whoop. Don't know what right now, but when it does, you'll hear it here. Giggity giggity.
All right. Well, as for me, you can find me at Opinion Haver on all social media platforms. You can find me on the Next Level Wrestling Review every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, live with Big Ray Hernandez, except when he's not here because he has to get a tooth pulled. So in that case, it may be Jimmy T. If you want to see me and Jimmy T do shows on a regular basis, you can check out on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. After the collision, we sift through the wreckage.
If it doesn't give you, it's gonna be a heart attack there, pal.
That's right. Too much sausage.
Polish sausage.
Yeah, ditke. Sausage. Ditke. Yeah, we sit through the wreckage and we talk about AEW Collision. And then if you want to, let's say you want to ask a wrestling legend a question, like Rip Rogers. Well, every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, which is a great time for podcasts, you can watch Wrestling with Rip Rogers Live, Q&A, type in a question in the chat, get your question answered, hang out with Von Lilas and Rip. They will entertain you one way or another. And then, looks like Candace Spaceman has a question for you. Does Brandon have a cat that steps on his keyboard when he leaves the house?
I did, until he passed away a few years ago.
So he's not messing up your Twitch settings then, I guess. Unless Ghost Cat.
Dude, I fucking love that cat. He was a great fucking cat, man.
Well, shout outs to that cat. Maybe a medium 5 and
that was legit his name. I legit named him Mr. Kitty
Mr. Kitty.
off of Cartman's cat.
All right. All right, Media and Five and Mr. Kitty. They are enjoying the program, and
They chilling.
lastly, Stevie Richards. Follow Stevie Richards for all the updates on everything that's going on. He's going through transitional stages too, as he's trying to set up his new studio, which looks very nice. He's got a new desk and everything. He's definitely going to start a new channel, I guess. The Stevie Richards Show, and he's going to be, he's got a video telling you what the Stevie Richards Show is going to be. But the Wrestling Analysis channel has died because all these people have killed it. So that's unfortunate.
And Don Stevens, if you're watching this, fuck you.
Yeah. And whoever the WWE equivalent of Don Stevens is, fuck you too. But, apparently nobody ever touches the Wrestling Mark channels that show footage and clips and stuff of WWE. So Steve Richards has aligned himself with some mark, and maybe that will protect him from. Maybe the mark will act as a shield from any sort of copyright strikes or claims going forward on his new channel.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
And then you can definitely still check out all of his exercise equipment reviews. He just did a re-review of his boxing fight camp, Snavitz or whatever. So you could check out that video now. So big things happening with Stevie Richards. Check him out on all those things. As we're all trying to sort of just move forward and try new things. We appreciate you all for being with us. So with that being said, for Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign-off line.
Before we cut this off, Elizabeth brought something up very interesting. I was not aware of this. I did not know this, that TNA is apparently letting some Twitch streamers stream their content. Which for TNA, I think that's a good move for them. It gives them free promotion. I think that's a smart move for them.
Well, look, TNA couldn't give their show free away on the street corner with a ham sandwich, so I don't see why they would stop anybody from using their Twitch channel. Anything they can get.
TNA could give a hawk two-way on that, and people still wouldn't care.
All right, now let's try to get your questions in before we sign off the show. I don't have a sign-off line. Goodbye, everyone.